I know the exact moment I stopped being a scout and became something else. It was not when Outpost Vathara went silent. It was not when I walked back out of that empty settlement, 34 prefab units with the doors left open, and the morning rations still laid on tables. A colony of 912 people reduced to the sound of wind through plastic sheeting. It was not even when command told me the satellite logs showed nothing, the transponders showed nothing, and that their working assessment was voluntary dispersal pending confirmation. It was 3 years later, in a records annex on Crossfall Station, when I found the Warden Compact's internal designation for what they had done to us. Culling license. That was the phrase. Registered under a compendium of resource management protocols that predated our first contact by 600 years. 38,000 human settlers across 14 frontier outposts, taken over 11 years in staged intervals, calculated to stay beneath Earth's detection threshold. Each batch removed, relocated, processed, a word they used the way a butcher uses it, and replaced in the Compact's welfare reports with falsified biometric summaries forwarded through their diplomatic mission on Geneva Station. The mission filed those reports every quarter, smiled at our trade liaisons, attended the ceremonial dinners, accepted our goodwill shipments of medical materiel. For 11 years they called it disappearances. 38,000 of our people had a more specific name, if any of them were still alive to give it. The record to Earth Combined Retaliatory Command on a standard data chip, in a standard evidence envelope, logged through a standard intake clerk who did not know what she was signing for. The deposition took 4 hours. The verification process took 9 months. I understand why. You do not send 1,100 warships across 3 transit corridors on the word of one warrant officer and a stolen administrative file. You confirm. You cross-reference. You give the accused every procedural courtesy that they denied to 38,000 people who never got a hearing of any kind. The verification came back complete on a Tuesday morning, station time. By Thursday, the Meridian Reckoning was underway. Standing on the flag bridge of the Ikri Dreadnought Ardent Measure now, watching the Drevathi homeworld fill the forward viewport. We exited fold space 40 minutes ago. All 1,100 ships of the Reckoning emerging in tight formation above the ecliptic plane, and PAX defense arrays have been trying to raise us on 14 different frequencies since the moment we appeared. The arrays are substantial. The Drevathi are an old species, patient, methodical, convinced of their own permanence. They built their orbital infrastructure over centuries. The defense network around this world is layered, redundant, terribly odd for the kind of engagement they have historically conducted. Measured exchanges with peer civilizations, protocols and warnings and staged withdrawals, the long negotiation of attrition. They did not build it for this. Fleet Admiral Soren Vask stands to my left at the command rail, his hands clasped back, watching the same viewport. He has not spoken in 11 minutes. Neither has the bridge crew. There is a particular quality to silence when it is chosen rather than suffered, and this is that quality. The silence of people who have decided, who are past the moment of deciding, who are now simply executing. The grief happened months ago, at the verification reading, when the full casualty assessment was entered into the record, and the room went quiet in a way that had nothing to do with military decorum. It happened again at the memorial service on the Ardent Measure's aft deck, the night before we departed, when 400 crew members stood in formation, and the chaplain read 38,000 names from a list that 2 hours and 40 minutes to recite in full. I stood in that formation. I did not speak. I have already said everything I know how to say about Vathara. The Drevathi are sending a diplomatic envoy now. The Compact's senior administrator, casting on the priority channel, offering emergency consultation, procedural arbitration, a formal inquiry under interstellar compact law. His voice is composed. He is very old by their reckoning, and he has almost certainly managed difficult conversations with younger civilizations. 4. He speaks the way an institution speaks, with the confidence of something that has outlasted every challenge it has faced. Vask keys the reply channel. Bring the Compact administrator to the flag bridge, he says. One individual, unarmed. We will speak with him in person before the order is given. That is more than 38,000 of our people received. The administrator comes aboard. He is tall even by Dravathi proportions, gray-scaled, moving with the deliberate calm of a creature who has never in his life felt the particular pressure of time running short. He is shown to the flag bridge. He stands across the command rail from Vask and looks for the first time at the reckoning arrayed in famation above his world. 1,100 ships, their hulls catching the system's star in hard angles of reflected light, running silent, running cold. Vask sets a data tablet on the rail between them. On it is a single document, the Compact's own culling license, their own welfare reports, their own internal processing records, their own administrative designation for 38,000 human beings. The administrator looks at it for a long moment. Then he begins to speak about jurisdiction, about historical precedent, about the complexity of resource classification in pre-contact protocols that were never intended to encompass. Vask picks up the tablet, switches off the display, and sets it face down on the rail. "You will be returned to your vessel," Vask says. "You will be given safe transit out of this system. This is not a negotiation. This is a notification." The administrator understands then. I watch him understand it. It moves across his face the way cold moves through metal. Slowly at first, then all at once. He looks at the formation beyond the viewport. He looks at Vask. He asks very quietly whether there is anything, any offer, any concession, any form of address. "No," Vask says. 2 minutes later, the administrator is back aboard his shuttle, and the shuttle is departing on a cleared order toward the outer system. Vask watches it go. He does not watch it long. "Execute at the reckoning," he says. What follows is not chaos. I want to be precise about this, because the word that history will reach for is war, and war carries with it a set of sounds. The roar of combat, the shouted orders, the frantic edge of engagement between matched forces. This is not that. The meridian reckoning unfolds the way a calculation unfolds, in sequence, in silence, with the precision of something that has been planned for 9 months, by people who intended to make no errors. The defense arrays engage. They are systematic. The reckoning absorbs what they can deliver and continues forward. And within the first hour the arrays are gone. And within the second hour the orbital infrastructure is gone. And by the time the system's star moves another hand's width across the sky, the Compact's centuries of patient permanence are being revised downward, installation by installation, in methodical order, without anger and without ceremony. I watch from the flag bridge. I do not feel what I expected to feel. I suppose is the thing about grief that crystallizes. It does not feel like triumph when the answer finally comes. It feels like an account being settled. It feels like the morning I walked out of Vethera and counted 34 open doors, and knew that the wind was the only thing still living there, and felt the shape of something that would not leave me until it was finished. It is nearly finished now. The reckoning takes 3 days. On the 4th day, 1 ship remains, the patrol frigate Constant Claim, carrying the Compact Administrator, and a data chip containing the full record of everything that was done, and everything that followed. The frigate is escorted to the system's transit corridor, and released on a heading toward the nearest Dravathi colony world still standing. They are carrying a message. It is not addressed to the Compact. It is addressed to the galaxy. Earth did not come here in anger. It came here in arithmetic. 38,000 people, removed under a culling license, across 14 outposts, over 11 years, in intervals calculated to avoid notice. We noticed. The answer is what you have just witnessed. This is not a warning. A warning implies there is something left to threaten. This is a record, entered into the permanent account of what happens when you file wellness reports for 912 people and leave their breakfast on the heap tables. I am a scout. I returned from an empty settlement 9 years ago with an evidence envelope and a certainty that would not let me rest. I have done what I came here to do. The ardent measure comes about. Below us, the Dravathi homeworld turns in the light of its star, quieter now than it has been in 600 years. We set course for home.